Hi, I'm Marcus and this is Nate and we're from CATO, and we're here to demonstrate how we use the battle board when we teach critical incident management in real life police scenarios. In this case, we are responding to an in-progress residential burglary where the suspect has now barricaded inside the house. Nate is going to demonstrate how he uses the battle board in managing all his personnel for a controlled discipline response.
So in this scenario, our residence that we're concerned with is 4769. You can see the address here, Tiffany Park Circle. So we're identifying the location, and then we begin to work on the left-hand side of our board where we can list out different priorities and different considerations. So we can list out our incident commander here, and we'll just make that Marcus for this scenario. I'm running the tactical operation, so I'm gonna be Nate. And as we look down, we can get into different things that we're working on, our mission, our rules of engagement. We're talking about medical, like where medical may be staged. The board here, we could use maybe red, identifying where medical is gonna be, and we have evacuation routes for anytime somebody's injured that we can identify, and we have medical staged over here, kind of off scene, so that we know exactly where, if anyone is injured suspect, or our officers will be able to have a safe route to evacuate. Some of the other items that we're gonna be able to list here are less lethal tools that we have on scene, so maybe 40 millimeters, or we're gonna have pepper ball, or maybe even our K9, and our K9 specifically is listed down here. Different checklists that we're gonna run through. We wanna make sure that we have maybe our helicopter on scene, so we could check boxes as we get these things identified and we know that those are in place. Everything we do is based on safety priorities, so a quick reminder so that anyone can use this, whether you have a tactical mindset or whether you're new to this type of scenario and you haven't had this type of thing encounter yet. You can look at, hey, first of all, I need to make sure my victims are safe, moving down to civilians, law enforcement, and so on. Anytime we set up these incidents, we're gonna make sure that we have containment put on this location. So to the very front, maybe we're gonna have an arrest and react team behind a piece of armor. Maybe the suspect is armed. So behind this incident, we're gonna have, or behind this piece of armor, we're gonna name this our ARV, or our Armored Rescue Vehicle. And we'll put some of our police officers behind this vehicle and we'll mark them off here. And as time progresses, we can really build this out to where we could put our names, and maybe there's places that we could identify the names for officers. So you have officer 1, 2, and 3 that are behind your ARV. And then you have containment 1, which is gonna be, containment 2, which is gonna be a containment position over here. So we could just list containment 2 so we know that we have a fence here, we have a fence here, and then another fence. We could set our containment 2 in this position here, containment 3, and so on. We put our containment 4. Now as we're working on this, we also have listed out the suspect and want. So we want to be able to long-term pass this on maybe to a different incident commander as time develops, and maybe there's a transition of power. So when we talk about a suspect and a want, we can put in, Joe Smith, and maybe what the one is, maybe obviously in this scenario is wanted for burglary, so we could put in that he's wanted for burglary. And then as the situation progresses and officers are working the problem, different things are gonna come to us, requests from officers that are on scene. And they're gonna ask for specific things that maybe we need to get to immediately, or it might be a prolonged request. For instance, maybe we want some mutual aid, and that's gonna take 40 minutes to an hour. Over here we have a needs section. We're able to write in here what we need. We need mutual aid. For me, I'll also put in here, once it arrives, I could check a box, and I know that, or I could cross it off. I know that that's been handled, but unless that's been crossed or wiped out, I know that I'm still working on that need. Working through the problem, containment, long rifle react. Basically, as we get everything completed, we can mark it off and transition back and forth from each side of the board with our intelligence, our documentation of exactly what we're doing, onto the tactical problem and exactly what the tactical problem looks like. At the conclusion of the incident, we're able to photograph this and we can document it long-term or preserve it in some sort of after-action report.
This also allows somebody like, say I'm Nate's partner and I arrive on scene, I don't want to interrupt him and stop and ask to be briefed. I can quickly walk up, look over his shoulder, and see where he's at in his progression and his response. I can take a picture, I can pass it on to a command post as we set up a larger command post if this becomes a bigger or longer prolonged event. And I can provide that situational awareness without interrupting the flow and what he's doing. Just like if you would pass it off or say I'm a lieutenant or I'm in command and I just want to see how he's doing. He's doing good. I don't see any blank spots, so he's thinking about these things. He didn't miss anything. I immediately have situational awareness on where everyone is, what the target location looks like, and where our personnel are. And then when we're done, we can double check because we don't want to leave anybody behind, and we want to make sure we understand where everybody's going.